you doing? Welcome back to the channel and another video. First upload for a while. I think my last video that I uploaded was sort of a quick look on the Trek checkpoint. Still struggling to get that right. Keep calling it a Trek point. But yeah, so this, at least right now, at the point of recording, obviously I've already done this race, should be quite a big week for me. In terms of this year and definitely recently, because it's been very stop-starty. So this is actually my first race for quite a while. I think I did race at on the Colville Fast course probably about a month ago, but since then had one or two things kind of going on from a work point of view, a couple of things to sort of plan and get in place at home. Obviously priority, or priorities I should say, and yeah, just race results this year have not been great, but not only the results, so like where I've positioned against everybody else, but most importantly sort of what I think I'm capable of doing from a time perspective, yeah, a lot of it's just been like poor pacing, even when my head's been in the right sort of place, my legs haven't done what I wanted them to do, so my power's been like quite jerky. Speaking of jerky, keep your eye on the bottom left hand corner, because God knows what was going on with my what do you call it, speedometer. So I was riding actually for probably the last 12 months actually without a speed sensor on the bike, and then I came across a local company here in the UK that makes all these different types of sensors, that some of which you never even knew that you wanted, but yeah, they're pretty low cost. So I decided to give this particular contraption a bit of a shot really, and it's old school really in terms of like the cycling setup. So it's a magnet and it's a sensor that goes onto the bike, but rather than a disc wheel obviously in the rear and then a tri-spoke in the front, you're actually limited unless you can hash something together. Sort of the modern speed sensors, if you like. That's how I'd frame them anyway. Magnetless. There's a word. So yeah, so I managed to hash this together, and actually I thought it was working pretty well. But yeah, then go and see this video, and I'm going from 0 to 90k an hour. There you go again. Without actually changing pace or power or anything. I mean, I'd love to be able to go from 0 to 90k in quite literally the blink of an eye. But anyway, digress. So apart from the struggle to clip in at the start, that struggle has been going on, or has been ongoing all season. As anybody who's watched these videos will know, I think there's once where I've not had the issue, and that was because there was somebody to hold up at the start, which seemed to be the case for every TT that I went to last year, but this year, yeah, just once. Who knows? Anyway, it is what it is. The really sort of frustrating thing from my point of view is if I just go out and ride this bike, you know, inevitably there's junctions and such like, and I never have a problem. I just clip in, and I think, to be honest, I think a lot of it is because I'm actually thinking about it. So this was race 1 this week. I did say I've got a big week coming up, big week for me anyway, at least. So at the time of recording, I am planning on racing this evening. I've never done 2 races in a week before, but I kind of feel like I need to, just to keep my hand in a little bit, and also because I really want to end the season well, and there's a couple of Colville races that are coming up over the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks, one of which I did last year, which is just like a 5 mile down to a roundabout, round the roundabout and then come back, but it includes a 1 mile dash, and I really enjoyed that last year and actually did quite well at it as well, and that's in September. So yeah, it's only 5 miles, but I'd quite like to see if I can go better than what I did last year. And then also there's the 10 mile fast course as well in a couple of weeks time. So it just sort of feels like the more time I'm able to spend on this bike, like now having changed the cockpit twice in 12 months, it kind of feels now like I'm starting to get to grips with the new front end position and new helmet and all that kind of thing. And so this particular race, so this was run by Ilkeston. I think it was on the 6th of August, if I remember right. Certainly something around there of 2024. The conditions were fairly pleasant. It was actually a two-up, and they got the biggest turnout that they've had this year. Was only 20-ish riders. But it just seems to be that Tuesday nights is a struggle for people locally. Certainly the Thursday race that's on this exact same course, different club admittedly, but seems to get a better turnout and has done pretty much all year as far as I'm aware. So yeah, Tuesday night seems to be a problem. But yeah, the conditions were good. The road service still isn't, despite me actually posting a video and sending the video to Nottinghamshire Council. But yeah, they come out and inspect this and tell me it's absolutely fine, despite the fact that there's a trench right down the middle of the road in certain areas. So I guess this is never going to change, at least not this year when it comes to time trial season. But who knows? Maybe the new Labour government will pull something out of the bag for them and they can resurface this entire TT loop. So otherwise, yeah, so I think there was like 3 or 4 solo riders. Most people were in two-ups, and I guess, like most Club 10s, varying abilities. So I wasn't overly thrilled with the time, which I think came in at 22:36, certainly 22:30 something. There was a bit of a debate actually as to what the time was, but for me, having not raced for a few weeks and only really just been able to dedicate sort of proper time to this bike, I was actually really just seeking to try and pace this kind of as well as I did last year, because this year, as I've already said, has been pretty horrible, and then also to basically see if my legs could do what I wanted them to do. So I went out with the sort of loose intention here of trying to stay or sort of average about 400 to 420 watts on the uphill sections, which I think I managed to do. And then after that, to be able to sort of back off a little bit on the downhills. There's a couple of sections where it wasn't quite so smooth, but I can live with that on the downhills because I've sort of got used to tucking right in. And then on the flats, sort of trying to stay 320, 330, sort of around that mark, and just be able to then sort of hit an average of somewhere between 300 and 310, because that's what I was doing last year, and kind of felt comfortable and actually achieved the best times that I did by sitting on those power bands, and yeah, and then obviously achieving that kind of overall. So yeah, I was actually pretty pleased with it, and the only downside is I've still been sort of getting to the end, and you'll see when I actually approach the finish line that I've still kind of got a bit left in the tank. So I think my power capability is probably higher than I'm giving myself credit for, and part of that is to go and test on another course, which, as I said, is my second race. So I'm going to head over to South Pennines route, or course. It's their last 10 on this particular course this evening. The forecast isn't particularly good, in the sense that it's supposed to be pretty windy, which, okay, I can live with that. It's just if it rains, because there is rain forecast for sort of late afternoon, early evening. If the wind stays as it is, then the roads will be dry. I just don't fancy cleaning my bike, to be perfectly honest. This is one bike where it's like dry cleaning. It's like a fancy Italian jacket, if you like. So yeah, so hopefully this week then will turn out to be a pretty good one. Monday I went out and did just sort of a very light sort of LT1 ride, just for an hour or so. So more than anything, that was to keep the legs turning, because I'd had a pretty good effort on Sunday, again on the TT bike. Managed to take a King of the Mountain, which was an unexpected surprise. I say take it. I then look back as to how many times I've sort of ridden this particular loop. It's been my test loop even before I moved house. So I mean, we must be talking 12 years or so. And yeah, it actually turns out that I've ridden this loop, I think it's 298 times, and 298th time I became king of the mountain. So there was a mini celebration on Sunday morning. So then, yeah, my Monday afternoon was, or Monday evening rather, was just a sort of light training ride, and Tuesday race, Wednesday off, Thursday race, and then Friday. And I can't believe that it's taken me the best part of 10 minutes to mention this. Finally, I will get the Trek checkpoint out for a proper ride. And there's a loop that I've kind of always wanted to do, but just sort of not had the time or forgotten about it, or whatever it may be, which is sort of a 3-trail loop up in the Derbyshire Dales. So it should come in at around about 50 miles. I've got the day off, and so it'll give me opportunity to kind of get acquainted with the new bike. So yeah, there'll be a couple more videos that kind of come about from that, because unsurprising, as predicted, you upload a video on a gravel bike on YouTube and it actually does pretty well from a viewpoint of view, unlike my TT videos. What can I say? The Americans love gravel bikes, and they love American branded gravel bikes. So just in case any of you happen to find this, which I highly doubt you will, thank you very much. So I'll do my usual, wrap things up around here, let lap 2 just kind of play out with the raw footage, see how I do. Obviously, if you like the video, please do give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to see more, especially Trek Point videos. And thank you very much for watching.